Welcome to another episode of Women in Focus. I have known this woman in focus ever since she was a little girl. Her name is Shelina Virani, and she is our woman in focus today. Shelina, you're most welcome in our program. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Where did you get your outfit from?
Of course, from Roshan Sari Center.
Of course. And was that long time ago?
Yes. I mean, we closed in 2015.
Yes.
So it's from that inventory from back then.
That
yes.
you got it, eh?
Yes, yes.
Now, Roshan Sari Center was a staple on Main Street for so many people.
It was.
Yeah, your parents started that how long ago?
They started it pretty much on arrival into Canada, probably around 1976 or so. And it started as a very small shop on Robson Street. And then my parents decided that they wanted to do more in Indian fashion, saris and suits specifically. So then we moved along to Main Street, where there was more Indian clientele and more hustle bustle, and it was quite a success story.
Of course,
being on Main Street, yeah.
I think the heyday of Main Street,
yes.
The 80s and the 90s, were one of the busiest times on Main Street, and people who could have a store there thought they made it in life.
Yeah. Well, we were lucky when we got there. There wasn't as much as how it became later.
Right.
But we're very lucky. We were on a corner store,
right?
And there was a bus stop right there, and we had a wraparound window. So any sari that went into the window, whoever was standing at the bus stop, it was theirs. They would come in and they would make their deposit, and it was so predictable that everything that was in the window would be sold out. It was just the way it was. I think my mother had a really good selection of clothing,
and her knack for fabric and design.
Yeah, knack for fabric design. I mean, it came from her youth. Her business started actually back in Uganda, and
yes.
you could call it something called microfinancing, you
right.
could say, right? So my mother comes from Bombay, with her trousseau of clothes on a ship, and arrives in Kampala. And, in Kampala, they were quite limited with the kind of clothes that they had there,
right.
the local people. So she would come to Jamaat Khana in a beautiful sari, and all the rich ladies would be looking at her and saying, we want that, we want that. She's like, no, it's mine, I can't share it, no, I won't give it to you. But I think that my dad's auntie, she encouraged my mom. She said, look, you can get another, you can probably get 10 more, why don't you sell it? Why don't you start your business like that?
Right.
So that's what my mother did. She took her trousseau and went to the highest bidder, and
yeah.
there was a lot of competition for her clothes, even her jewelry, so she sold everything, and she made her first little bundle of money, and
right.
of course my aunt was a wealthy woman, so she did a bit of microfinancing, loans, and paying back in a timely manner and so forth. And then my grandmother in Bombay would send her entire trunks of saris, and that's how her business started.
Isn't that
it was a
beautiful?
home-based business, yeah.
That's a beautiful story. Now, I remember your mother being such a fantastic businesswoman. She had the knack. She knew.
She did. She did. She makes when I think about her ability, even now, it makes my hair stand. The things that she would manage would be so outside of anyone's line of thinking, but she would somehow get through and do it really well, and do it very successfully, and pulled other people out of whatever they were doing to follow her in her footsteps, and getting them out of whatever business they were doing into now wholesaling to Roshan from whatever location they were. Some people in Karolbagh in Delhi, and some people in Bombay, and who used to sell literally, I'm not kidding, from those bunks, those batteries.
Yes.
Yeah. So they would be vendors on a little bunker with a couple of shelves of clothes, and Roshan would be like, I want this is it. Have you ever thought of wholesaling? She'd say to them, and they were like, what is that? And then set them up a little bit, and now these people, I'm not kidding, Sushma, I met one of them in downtown just last week, and I knew this gentleman. He was my age, maybe a couple of years younger, and he said that, do you realize that your mother was our first wholesale
Connection.
customer. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And now they've become so big. They own the whole of Elko Market. Have you heard of Elko Market in Bombay?
I have, yes.
They own a lot of it. They're you know, wholesaling to people in New York and Singapore and
Isn't
the UK.
that just beautiful?
Everywhere, all over Canada. So, and a whole, Mom literally has erected a whole family out of, taking them out of what they were doing,
Yeah.
which was very small scale, into this full-fledged. So she's done that not just to one family, but I can think of a few that have come out of, you know, this narrow sort of vision that they had into something much broader.
I have known you as the one of the finest Bharatanatyam dancers under the auspicious guidance of the one and only Nimi Bali, your guru.
Yes, yes, my guru, my very close to me, close to my heart. Yes.
I want to talk about that, but
Yes.
let's take a short break and come back. And I want to go back to your childhood and bring you up as a Bharatanatyam dancer under the auspicious eye of Nimi Bali. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Women in Focus. Our Woman in Focus today is Shelina Virani. Are you still retaining your name?
Yes.
Virani. You
Yes.
never changed it?
Never changed it.
Never changed it. Now, Shelina, I remember you dancing with Nimi. Nimi was your teacher.
Yes.
Let's go there. How old were you when you first started?
I remember my older brother Hanif literally holding my hand, taking me to the Vishwa Hindu Parishad on Albert Street.
Yes.
And leaving me with Nimi Didi,
Yeah.
right inside the mandir, saying,
Right.
okay, she's yours.
Yeah,
You know,
look
you're
after
in
her
charge.
now.
Yeah. And when I look back at my first day in class and my first little while with Nimi Didi and Alka being my first dance colleague, Alka Goel, you know, what a story from there to where it is today. It's been how many years? 49 years. I
Wow.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And to still know Nimi Didi. But yeah, so my dance lessons started at the Vishwa Hindu Parishad.
Yeah.
I feel like I've you know, she taught us not just dance, but she taught us etiquette. She taught us how to behave with of course, the guru, and also of our guru Behna,
Yeah.
guru sisters. And we were like a family that grew together. It was, the dance was important, but there was so much.
The solidarity between you dancers, right?
Yes, the solidarity, the growing up in a mandir, me
Right.
coming from an Ismaili Muslim background, and having spent countless hours at the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, you know, under the wing of Nimi Didi, Goody Didi, Gop Uncle, do you
Yeah.
remember Gop Shiva
Right,
Uncle? Yeah.
Gop Shiva, yes.
And Dr. Goel.
Yeah.
Just growing up under them and experiencing life through them. It was a magical time, and,
Yeah.
and that magic continues even today. When I see you, Sushma Didi, when you know, we used to come to your house,
Right.
and your mother used to feed us, and we would do recordings in your home studio. Sometimes we had rehearsals in your studio.
That's
Sometimes we
right.
performed for you.
Now, as a child growing up learning Indian classical music, was it something that you really wanted to learn, or was it just you were thrust into it?
I think I already had a passion for it,
Yeah.
because back home in Gambala, I was too young to join any school. But my cousins were on stage performing, and you know, I told my mother, I have to
do that.
Yeah, I have to do this, and you have to make it happen for me. And so they I guess they convinced the dance teacher, she was a Kathak teacher, to allow me to come to their class.
Right.
And so I finally set my foot in. But unfortunately, soon after, we had to leave Africa,
Right.
and come to Vancouver. But then, you know, right around the corner was Nimi Didi, and I was back into dance class. So no, it was something that I truly enjoyed. My parents, especially my father's side of the family, they're very artistically inclined. They all love music. My uncle played tabla. My other uncle sings. and my aunts were singers. So it was
So
much
it sort of
yeah.
sort of was okay for you to get involved in all that, right?
Yes, yes, it was very much a part of what we were already doing, yeah.
Which was one of your most favorite dances?
I love them all.
Yeah?
I love them all, but I think the one that stands out to me the most is the puja dance.
Yes.
And I think because that was the first one that I performed
Okay.
at the Peony. Do
Right.
you remember that show?
Yes, I
Maybe,
remember
yeah.
that show.
And we had Alka and Dolly and Gopankal and Dr. Goyal all being a part of this. Yeah, that was my first big experience. The audience was huge.
And you were on stage, so
I was
so,
on stage,
so,
yeah.
so your dream came true.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And you know what really strikes me about those days is that Nimi Didi, as strict as she was also very, very loving. So, you know, each one of us had our makeup done exactly precisely the way she wanted it, and she would do it. Our costumes were designed by her. We were all treated like little dolls, you know, and fed well. Okay, it's time to sleep now. You got to sleep. We need to rest, you know, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I remember the strictness, but I remember just being engulfed by all this love. Yeah.
Nimi, Gudi, Shashi, all three of them.
Yes.
They looked after you guys. So when you were growing up, apart from dance, what were your other passions? What, mom's business, or what did you want to do?
Well, I mean, dance was always, you know, up there, high up there, but I could never separate myself from the business because I was, there's this whole artistic component to the business as well. So I think I was always gravitating to, you know, fabrics and textiles and designs and that, you know, and there's also the business sense in me.
Right.
You know, how can we mass produce this? How can we make it cheaper?
Right.
How can we get it to everyone,
Right.
this product, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was both equally. And then I also dabbled a little bit in the film industry. That was a lot of fun as well. So yeah.
What did you do in the film industry?
In the film industry, well, when I, you know, when I finished with Nimi Didi, I continued to study dance. I went to India and I studied Kathak under Dr. Padmashri Roshan Kumari. I was with her for 5 years. I got my certificate, teaching certificate through her. But en route, I also went to St. Xavier's Institute of Communication and I picked up filmmaking over there.
Okay.
And also I got involved with some productions. I did some dance choreography for ad films. I was an assistant to my teacher on sets. One of the famous movies that she did dance choreography for was Gulzar's Lekin. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
Lekin? Yeah.
Yeah,
So Hema Malini was
right
on
in there.
Yeah, so I went with her to assist with teaching Hema Malini.
That particular dance.
Yeah, that particular dance.
And that was featured in the film?
It was featured in the film.
Wow, that's
From the
amazing.
Jaipur, yeah.
So how long did you spend in Bombay?
In Bombay, I was there for 5 years as you know, studying dance and involved in film as well. Yeah, and you know, Bombay is a place, especially Bandra, is a place where you're constantly brushing shoulders with all these famous people, like and they're just household names. In my case, my dance teacher, her father was a very famous Pakavach player. His name was Ustad Fakiruddin Mohammed. And her mother, very famous, Zora Begum Ambalawali. Have you heard of her?
Yes.
The singer, yeah. So you know, they were there in class, and you know, I'd be studying under Babuji. He was very strict and loving as well. But you know, people like Saira Banu, household name, she would just come and she'd pick my dance teacher up.
Yeah.
And take her on to wherever shopping or whatever they're doing that day. Or Dilip Kumarji, he came to some of our recitals.
Wow.
He was a patron of our school. Manorama, do you remember her?
Yes, I do, yes.
Yeah, she would be there and they'd be upstairs playing cards and having chai while I'd be teaching downstairs. So yeah, you'd be rubbing shoulders with all these people. And, oh, right, and another person, another famous name is Kajol. And
Yeah.
she was very young. This is just before she got into Dilwale Dulhania. She used to come to our dance school.
Right.
And I would teach her, and she would be one of the students that I taught.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, and I remember when she was about to get involved with Dilwale Dulhania, when she just signed off, she came to class, came to see Babuji, you know, show her respect, get his blessings.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. It was a very interesting time. Those 5 years were just
Another
something
lifetime,
else.
isn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We're talking to Shelina Virani. Shelina, we're going to take a short commercial break and come back.
Sure.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Women in Focus. Shelina Virani is our Woman in Focus today. Hey, rubbing shoulders with big film stars and all that, a part of your life that you left in Bombay.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back? Do you ever think of going back there?
I do. I mean, India is I have a very soft spot for India.
Right.
And if I can, in this lifetime, I'd like to visit every corner of India and explore it and be with the people and not do the tourist thing, but to really go grassroots and be involved. Yeah.
So when you came back and started helping Mom in her business, is that the only thing that you did? Because I know that you did something else as well.
Well, yeah. When I came back, I joined Mom's business and continued with sourcing manufacturers and doing some small scale manufacturing. The other things I got involved with was Alka and I had started a school in 1987, I think,
Yeah.
88. Yeah. And so when I came back, I rejoined the school. And Alka and I have been running it together since.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, reaching out to the community, the kids of the community, keeping them close to the culture, and to do it through dance, it's like a privilege. It's an honor to be able to do that.
I understand recently you're involved with a production that's taking place at the Jamaat Khana.
Yes. So this is a production that I'm involved with. It's being the producers are Arif Velji and Farah Qasim, and it's a pretty big scale community production. There's about, I think, 90 participants, and they're doing things very differently. They've got very little work being done on pre-recorded audio tracks, but we have musicians, singers.
Everything live.
Majority of it is live,
Right.
yeah. And dances from all over. So we have dandiya and ghumar and ballet and some other items. So basically bringing out the talents of
different people.
Of different people inside the community, yeah.
So it's a community program.
It's a community production, yes.
And for the community, by the community.
Yes, for the community, by the community.
So now that sort of a thing, are you involved with them?
I am this time, yeah. I've choreographed a dandiya with Kathak technique, and that's going to be going on stage. I have a very small role doing some fancy footwork, tatkar, just not a very long segment, but just to get the audience attention. For me, I've spent a lot of time in the Hindu community, and I've spent a lot of time with Kavital Dance School, where I've met all kinds. But for me, this is nice because I'm going back to my community, the Ismaili. I mean, they're all my community, but
yes, of course.
I'm going back to the Ismaili community, and I'm reaching out to the youth through my dance. And I think that the dance is important. As I was saying with Nimi Didi, it was the dance, but there was so much more. So that's what I want to do for the kids of the Jamaat Khana, as well as reach out to them and teach them etiquette the way Nimi Didi taught me, teach them the history of dance, and see some bonding. No competition. I don't like that.
Right.
That kind of
I think
thing.
music and dance teaches camaraderie.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does. It does.
It's that you are separate units, but you come together.
You come together, yeah.
To make that production successful.
Yes. I feel like it's almost like a spiritual journey. you know, you come there with your own, from wherever you've come from, with your own set of beliefs and your own barriers, your own inhibitions, and now you're working on a common project, and before you know it, the kids start just shedding their
Inhibitions.
Inhibitions, yeah.
Yes.
And and they're already always thinking mind, you know, and opening up their minds to other things.
And taking that in,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah, it's quite magical where we were 4 months ago and where we are today as a group. You know, it's a complete transformation.
And you see that.
And I see it. Yeah.
As an artist, I guess you've seen so many different aspects of art,
Yes.
and so many different fruitations of that.
Yeah.
It must have been a very fulfilling life for you.
It has been. The beautiful thing about dance and Indian music and dance is that it's not just a physical activity, it's also a mental activity, and it's a spiritual activity. So it's all encompassing. For me, I think to myself that, you know, I left dance 30 years ago, pretty much left it, but dance didn't leave me. It's still very much a part of me, and there's always this coming close to it and then getting involved with something else, but never ever being able to shed that. And now I'm at a place where I never want to shed that. I want to keep it, and I want to pass it on as much as I can while I still can. While I still have good health, I'd like to share my experience. Yeah.
That's beautiful. You've lived a beautiful life.
I've enjoyed my life. I really have.
And I want to thank you for, I should have interviewed you a long time ago, but
Yes.
there's a saying, Der hai durust hai. So thank you for being our Woman in Focus today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Shelina Virani has been our Woman in Focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.